So this is the first video in the Sui By Examples series, and in this video, I want to just walk you through your setup and show you some resources that I think are really cool that will help you with your development. And that said, the first thing is that you need to understand what Sui By Examples is, right? And Sui By Examples is just a collection of like things that make you go fast, right? So there are guides and tutorials for you to get doing things fast. It's not you're supposed to be your learning guide. It's not supposed to be something for more fundamental learning, right? It's something for people that just want to get things done and then get out, right? So let's say you're a Solana developer or you have smart contract development experience already, something like that. You would find Sui By Examples very useful because you're getting the the same primitives, the same communication for somebody that already knows what they are doing, right? So if you need more primitive knowledge, more fundamental knowledge, I'll be walking you through some of the resources that you can see up here that you would use to learn, right? So of course, the first thing you want to do is install Sui, right? And you want to go to the Sui docs, it's docs.sui.io, as you can see right here, and then get to the guides and install Sui pretty much. And then depending on the architecture or the operating system you're using, you would have to install it differently, right? And as you can see here, I am on the Mac OS, right? And so I've been installing for Mac OS with Brew. And I think the first thing you want to do in this case is actually to install Brew. And then you can see here is a package manager actually. And once you've installed Brew, you can now install Sui. So I'm just going to rip up my terminal and Brew install Sui. And you can see I already have Sui installed, but if I wanted to reinstall it, or I want to change the versions, I can always do that from here. Just running Brew install Sui should install Sui for you fine. If you're on Linux, if you're on Mac, all you have to just do is install Homebrew and then you can go ahead, right? And I think it's actually the easiest way to get things set up. And now if you run Sui command, we should get all the commands, right? And another command that's very useful to you, but we'll revisit it later. We're going to revisit the Sui CLI later, but yeah, Sui --help would help you with any command. So you can do Sui Move --help, and yeah, walks us through all the commands that we can access through Sui Move. Yeah, that's it. The first thing we are going to do now is, since we already have Sui installed, I think I'm going to set up a Sui project, right? So let's get back to my terminal again. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger and just do Sui Move. No, let me just get to my documents directory. And now my document directory, I want to run Sui Move new and then name of a project, right? So this is how you create a new project with Sui, right? And let's call this impatient, right? Because Sui By Examples is for the impatient. And we're going to like get into that impatient directory that we just created and open it in the code editor, right? So I can just like show you what the Sui project looks like. Oh, the executable doesn't run, so let's just use Rush Rover, right? You can Sui has support for multiple IDEs, so whichever you would choose to use, even if it's Z, you have built-in support already. So I'm just going to close all my errors and my plugin information. And as you can see here, this is what a Sui project looks like. You can see the Apto CLI path is not provided. It's not necessary. Do not show again. So that's for if you're building on Aptos, but we're building on Sui this time around. So yeah, you can see here that we have our move.toml file opened up, and this is like your package manifest, right? If you've written Rust or if you've written any language at all, there's always like a file for managing your configurations, right? So this is what we do with move.toml, and you can see this is where you outline your dependencies. This is where you would outline the addresses of the packages you're using. So these are for dev dependencies and dev addresses, all of that stuff. And then you can see the package metadata here. Yeah, so the next thing you want to look at is the sources directory, right? So in the sources directory, you'll be writing all your Move code, right? All the modules and that'll be in your package. You specify them there. But you can also write tests here, so to test your modules before pushing them out. And yeah, you have this git ignore file to ignore everything in the build directory, which is what you'll be getting when you build your project. And to build your project, you just easily run Sui Move build and should build your project, right? So it builds everything. And you can see that the build directory is now out, but we don't want to push that to any version control system. So that's why we're using the git ignore. And then to test your project, you use Sui Move test. And yeah, to test, run all the tests, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. So publish, we'll be seeing that command when we walk through the Sui CLI tutorial. But for now, that's all you really need to know. You've gotten set up and you now know how to start a new Move project. Now, if you are using any IDE, you want to download or install the plugin for that IDE. So for Rush Rover, you can easy as getting settings and then going for plugins and then searching for Move, or more importantly, or more specifically, Sui Move. And you can see here that I already have that installed. It's as simple as easy as installing that, and then you can get going, right? So yeah, that's how you install this. But on Visual Studio Code, what you can do is just get here, and once you create a Move project, actually, it would suggest to you that you should install the Move extension, right? So yeah, once again, we can just do Sui Move, and I think the Sui Move in this case is actually official, so you can see it's by Mr. Labs, the builders of Sui, and you can just easily install it, and now you get Move support in your IDE, right? Which is really cool actually. So I personally use Visual Studio Code to write code. I think Rush Rover is really cool, and I use it for Rush code, but it's just really cool to see it on Rush Rover because Move is a bit Rust, right? So yeah, I just really use this for the aesthetics, and when I'm writing serious code, I use Visual Studio Code because the linting is faster actually. So that said, now that you've set up and you already know how to walk yourself through the process, the next thing I want to show you are resources. So the first thing is that we are in the age of AI, and I doubt anybody's still writing code manually, or of course you do learn how to code, and then the next thing you do is start using AI because it gets you more leverage and more speed. And so the best AI I found for using Sui Move is actually the one on this docs, right? And so it doesn't load automatically, right? So sometimes you might have to refresh. But to this Ask Sui AI, I think it's an RAG that sits on top of the Sui docs, and then the Move book, which you're going to see very soon. And then you can ask like anything. So write me a simple escrow contract, and it's very good. Like it's very good. I think comparing it to every other thing I've seen outside, it's actually the best, and it makes a lot of sense, right? It makes a lot of sense because it's an RAG that's on top of the docs, right? So yeah, you can see that you're already writing everything, and yeah, you can easily also get some guides and some examples on what you can do, right? So it's really good. And then another thing you would want to do if you want to learn is actually go to concept and then Sui components, learn about Sui and all of that stuff. So you also have the Sui Move reference if you want to so you can also see like the Move reference, the Move book, the framework, and all of that stuff if you want to really dive into that. But the most popular resource for learning Move is still the Move book because it's a whole lot ergonomic. So yeah, you can also use this to learn. I actually use this to learn, right? So just walk through anything you want to, and feel free to contribute to these pages if you have the time to, right? I remember contributing to it as well. So just easily learn every single thing that has to do with Sui. All of this actually is broken down into here. So this Sui By Examples documentation is highly inspired by the Move book, because I read the Move book and I tried to compress everything into one. So yeah, there's the Move book, of course. And that one you want to see is Sui Tiers. So Sui Tiers is like a collection of ready-to-use packages, and you can just use them to build whatever you want to build. So if it's airdrop utilities and anything you want to build, really, you would find them here on Sui Tiers, and you cannot like use them in your own packages. But that's not where the spice is. The spice I really think there is to go to the GitHub of this packages, right? And then you want to go to the GitHub of these packages, and then you would look at the code, because the code is really good. Like it's very intuitive to look at like the code that works behind the scenes when you use these packages if you're going to. But personally, I think learning from experienced developers or ready to use templates that are well adopted would be really cool. So you want to get to GitHub and start looking at the code, start getting familiar with Move and how people are doing things. So yeah, there's that. Another one you want to look at is the Sui Move registry, right? So the Move registry, they'll come, and once you get there, you'll be able to like see everybody's code that's pushed out here. So you can always like push your own code as well. And yeah, really cool project if you ask me, because this was pushing the boundaries of what we're doing. There are some other resources that are right here. So if you navigate to the introduction to Sui Move and you go down, you will see more tips on where you can find reasonable code that you can always look at. And that one is Mr. Labs Sui By Examples as actual. So like these are all examples for Move and TypeScript and basically everything that you would possibly want to do when you're a beginner with Sui Move. You'll find them here, right? So yeah, that's pretty much everything that we're walking through in this video. Watch the next video to learn the most used commands you would probably be using when you're using Sui CLI.